Hi there, my name is Will and welcome to a guide on how to use the Kubernetes Task Runner in Kestra. Task Runners are a great way for being able to access remote compute environments and isolate all of your dependencies. The Kubernetes Task Runner allows you to do that by deploying individual task runs on your cluster. I'm going to walk you through how you can do that with Docker for Desktop. We're also going to have guides on how to do it on GKE, EKS and AKS. Let's jump into an example. As we can see in this example, we are using the shell commands task to execute a number of shell commands. Now, what we're going to do is use the task runner for Kubernetes to deploy this on our cluster that is running on Docker for Desktop. To do that, we're going to need a few properties for the config so it knows where to put it and that it has access to do so. We're going to need a few things such as the client key data, the client certificate data, the certificate authority data, the server URL, and the username of our user. We can use kubectl in the command line to get this data for Docker for Desktop. Let's do that now so we can get that set up. Using the kubectl config view command, we're able to get all of the configuration that we need. Now we needed 5 different things which we can get from here. I'm going to add most of them as secrets because we're using the Enterprise edition, so it makes that really easy. Jumping back into Kestra for a second, we can head over to namespaces and head over to the namespace that our flow's in. If we go to secrets, here we can add our secrets in. We need to add 3 main secrets here which we can get from the kubectl config. We need to get the client certificate data, we need to be able to get the client key data, as well as getting the certificate authority data. Let's add this in like so. We'll copy that and we'll paste that into the Kestra secret manager. And here I'm able to add my secret in and press save. And we're going to do this now for the next couple as well. Great. Now we have the 3 main secrets that we need, so now we can jump back into our flow. What we can do here is simply use Pebble expressions to add these in as secrets. Great, we've got our 3 secrets set up. Now we just need to get the master URL and username. Now jumping back to the config, we can find those quickly. Here we can see the username is Docker Desktop, and we also have a URL for the server, but you can also just put Docker for Desktop with the same port number as that works locally on the machine. We're now all set up and ready to run this task runner on our Kubernetes cluster. And what it's going to do is ask us for a file, and then it's going to copy that on the cluster. So it's going to execute everything in Docker for Desktop and then hand the results back to our Kestra instance. Here I've added my file, which is a simple txt file with hello world in it. As we can see here, it's created a pod in our cluster and it's added the file and successfully created a copy. So now if we go to outputs, we'll be able to see the outputs as we'd expect, and we can see a copy of our file, but it ran it entirely in our Kubernetes cluster in its own pod. There's also tons of extra configuration as well. So if you need to use different types of ways of authenticating, as well as different properties such as managing how many resources this task runner can use as well, can also be configured in the task runner property. This is just one example of how powerful the Kubernetes task runner is, and hopefully you can set this up with your Kubernetes cluster. Hopefully you found that useful and you're going to start using the Kubernetes task runner in your clusters as well. Let us know what you think in the comments below and join our Slack community where you can chat with us further.